The biggest eShop sale of the year ends in less than 24 hours, so be sure to make your final decisions before midnight tonight. Hey yo everyone, I'm JP, and today I've compiled a huge list of some of the best last chance deals that are still available. If you enjoy the show, consider subscribing down below to join the crew, and I'll do my best to bring you some great deals every week. Plus, we do giveaways to give back to the community, so you'll want to stick around to be a part of those as well. And to the crew, welcome back my friends. Thanks as always. I don't want to waste too much time because we have a lot of games to cover, so let's dive right in. Stay safe out there, and please enjoy the video. Ashen is an action RPG with a download size around 5 GB and it has a main story that will last roughly 20 to 25 hours to finish up. Now the game offers online options as well, but it can be kinda difficult to find people to join. The game has that familiar Souls-like feel to the combat and leveling system, and the huge open world is a blast to explore. The game also has a very in-depth crafting system as well, and the game is no joke. Every enemy is deadly and there are a ton of enemies trying to take you out. If you're interested in Ashen, be sure to pick it up again before the sale ends on the 7th. It's marked down 70%, matching an all-time low of just $11.99. A Hat in Time, the Ultimate Edition, is a charming 3D action platformer with a main story that will last roughly 10 to 15 hours and the download size is around 16.5 GB. This one also has local co-op for 2 players as well, and in this one we play as a young time traveler with a big old top hat. Unfortunately, our fuel for our ship has been scattered across the nearby planet, and we'll have to explore the vast and beautiful world in order to collect and recover all of the timepieces. This edition includes all of the DLC as well, with the new moves, items, weapons, levels, quests, and more, making this a great value. If you're interested in the Hat in Time, the Ultimate Edition, be sure to grab it up before the sale ends on the 7th. It's marked down 50% and matching a previous low of just $18.49. Cadence of Hyrule featuring Legend of Zelda is an amazing mashup of one of the most beloved Nintendo franchises combined with an indie gem that came out of nowhere. Crypt of the Necrodancer is a fantastic game, and in fact the developer Brace Yourself Games must have left an impression as they lent them the rights to use the Zelda franchise and create an amazing game. Now the game's runtime is about 9 to 10 hours to finish up, and if you really don't like the rhythm aspect of the game you can turn it off and play through it in a more traditional fashion. The game is definitely tough, but if you're interested in this one, be sure to grab it up before the sale ends again on the 7th. It's marked down 30% and matching an all-time low of just $17.49. Cuphead is a 2D run-and-gun shooter with a mix of standard platforming stages and a ton of incredible bosses to take on. The art style and old-school hand-drawn animations are maybe some of the best in any game, plus the soundtrack is top tier as well. Of course it's difficult, but it's also a blast to play, and you can pair up with a buddy for 2-player local co-op as well. With the newly released DLC, they added in a character that makes it a little bit easier, which is pretty cool, and some of the new bosses are outrageous. If you haven't played this one, make sure to scoop it up before the sale ends. It's marked down 30% to just $13.99 until the 7th, and the DLC will add about $8 to that for those that are interested. Dark Souls Remastered is a single-player action RPG developed by From Software, and while there was a game before it, this may be the one that put the series and the company on the map for many modern gamers. It offers more than 40 hours of gameplay in a 4 GB package, and for fans of Souls-likes, this is as good as it's gonna get on the Switch. The combat is awesome, the story is amazing, and like with other games in the series, you can have people join in online to take on some of the tougher bosses if you want. If you haven't played Dark Souls, this is a great addition to the game library, and it's on sale, which rarely happens. Right now you can pick it up for half price, matching an all-time low of just $19.99, again until the 7th. Dead Cells is a single-player action platformer from Motion Twin Studios, offering 50 to 100 hours of gameplay, mostly due to the difficulty and sheer amount of content available. We find ourselves on a cursed island trying to uncover its mysteries. Now the game has amazing controls, the combat is tough but fair, and the world is interconnected, giving plenty of reason to explore and find hidden secrets. If you still haven't played this one, it's a perfect time to jump into the action. It's on sale until the 7th, marked down 50%, matching an all-time low, and there's tons of DLC available as well. Eldest Souls is a single-player action RPG with a download size around 1.4 gigs and a main story that will last roughly 6 to 8 hours to wrap up. The story takes place after humankind has decided to rebel against the gods, and now this one is incredibly hard with amazing boss battles, gorgeous graphics, an emotional story, and it's just fun overall to play. It's predominantly a boss rush with some Souls-like combat, and if you enjoy this kind of game, make sure to check it out before the 7th. It's marked down 50%, again matching an all-time low of just $9.99. Enter the Gungeon is a twin-stick shooter from Devolver Digital and is available for 1 or 2 players in local co-op. The main story will last more than 50 hours to complete, and this is one of my personal favorites and a great value even at full price. It's a bullet hell dungeon crawler featuring some of the toughest boss battles and stages in the genre. The pixel art and sound effects they used are amazing, and the music gets you pumped up to keep going. This is one of those tough but rewarding type games where you get that addictive feeling. You have weapon upgrades, secrets, and like I said, some of the most fun gameplay in the genre. Make sure to check this one out before the sale ends on the 7th. Right now you can get it at half price, matching an all-time low of just $7.49. Katana Zero is a single-player action platformer from Devolver Digital with a main story that will last roughly 6 to 7 hours to finish up, and it has a download around 360 megabytes. The story is told in these awesome cinematic cutscenes that weave throughout the entire game. The action is insanely fast, and the game gives you the freedom to tackle each stage in many different ways, but one wrong move or mistimed attack and it's lights out. Luckily though, the game is forgiving in death, and you're right back in the action within a couple of seconds. The storyline with the little girl in the apartment next door was so good, and you'll see if you decide to pick it up. If you're interested in this one, make sure to grab it before the sale ends on the 7th. It's marked down 40%, matching an all-time low of just $8.99. Lost in Random is a single-player action-adventure style game from EA with a download size around 4.2 gigs and a main story that will last more than 15 hours to wrap up. This is basically a gothic fairy tale inspired adventure where the roll of the dice determines everyone's fate. We have to explore through the 6 different shadowy realms in an attempt to take down the evil queen. The combat is sort of a blend of tactics, deck building, and dice rolling, and it's a blast to play. If you're interested in Lost in Random, make sure to pick it up before the sale ends on the 7th. It's marked down 50%, matching a previous low of just $14.99. Morbid, the 7 Acolytes is a single-player action RPG with an isometric view and stunning pixel art graphics, offering a main story that will last roughly 8 to 10 hours with a download around 800 megabytes. The game is gruesome with epic and brutal boss battles, diverse environments, and a deeply narrative-driven story. Players will have to find upgrades to gear, weapons, and skills along the way as we challenge the 7 possessed acolytes, all with godlike powers, in order to save the kingdom. This is another tough game, but definitely worth checking out. This one has a little bit longer until July 12th, marked down 70% to just $7.49, and again matching a previous low. The Messenger is a single-player action platformer again from Devolver Digital and offers players a main story that should last around 10 to 15 hours. The game features dynamic, acrobatic gameplay and amazingly tight controls. Along the way you'll find cool upgrades and new abilities to unlock, hidden levels, and a story with branching paths that you can take. It's a tale of redemption and survival, and you'll be fighting to save your home village. The game starts with an 8-bit look and quickly switches to 16-bit, which is really cool, and again, this is one of my favorite games on the Switch. I highly recommend you check it out before the sale ends on the 7th. It's marked down 60% to just $7.99, again matching an all-time low. What Remains of Edith Finch is a collection of strange tales about a family in Washington State. They play out as single-player adventures and should take about 3 to 4 hours to finish with a download around 2.3 gigabytes. In this one we take control of Edith and we have to explore the massive Finch mansion trying to uncover the mysteries of what happened to the family that lived here. Now this is more of an experience than a game so to speak and can really recreate that feeling of being transported into the pages of a really emotional book. It's all about atmosphere and tries to give you that feeling of being alone in a large house. Make sure to check this one out before the sale ends again on the 7th. It's marked down 70%, matching an all-time low of just $5.99. Baldo, the Guardian Owls. This is a single-player action RPG with a download size around 1.7 gigabytes and it offers a main story that should last players more than 30 hours to finish up. Now of course the game had a notoriously bad launch and just really it was broken overall. I had put it in the back of my mind and forgot about it, but with the recent patches and updates, the game is well worth checking out now. The graphics are gorgeous and the combat and hitboxes have been fixed, so it's a lot more fun to play. I know it's not ideal to have a broken game at launch, but at least they did their best to deliver on their original promise here, and if you're interested, it's on sale at a new low price of just $17.49, a discount of 30% until July 7th. Next we have the Castlevania Advance Collection. This is a package of 4 enhanced versions of original classics from the Game Boy Advance days. You'll get the first 3 games in the series for the handheld as well as Dracula X and once again some artwork and extras added into the mix. The download size for the entire collection is just 675 megabytes and it offers more than 20 hours of combined gameplay for one player. Just like the rest of the bundles from Konami, this is an excellent value and it has all of the quality of life enhancements as well. For newcomers, once again, this is a great way to jump into the games, and for longtime fans, a great way to relive them on a modern console. If you're interested in this one, be sure to grab it up before the sale ends on July 7th. It's marked down 33% to a brand new low of just $13.38. CARRION is a single-player 2D action platformer from Devolver Digital with a download size around 600 megabytes, and the main story will last roughly 5 to 6 hours to wrap up. The game is classified as a reverse horror game, which just means that basically you get to play as the bad guy or the monster. In fact, in this one you can consume your victims and become even stronger and mutate into an even more powerful creature. We get to wreak havoc and take out our enemies as we try to escape this isolated prison, and the graphics and sound are top notch. If you're interested in CARRION, make sure to grab it up before the sale ends again on the 7th. It's marked down half price to a brand new low of just $9.99. Next up on the list, we have Cozy Grove. This is a single-player adventure sim game from Spry Fox with the main story that will last more than 40 hours, and it has a download around 1.2 gigs. Now this is a life sim and it sees us camping on a haunted island, and over time you have to explore the forest each day and eventually try to bring color and joy back to Cozy Grove. One really cool feature is that the game's day and night cycle is in sync with the real world, and every day they give you something new to do, so it's always fun to come back. The hand-drawn art and the peaceful soundtrack are top notch, and this game is highly recommended. If you're interested in this one, be sure to grab it up again before the sale ends on the 7th. It's marked down 35% to a new low of just $9.69. Death's Door is a single-player adventure game, again from Devolver Digital, with a download around 2.7 gigabytes and a story that will last about 8 to 10 hours to finish up. The controls are perfect, the atmosphere and music are top-notch, and again this is a must-play in my opinion. The boss battles are unique and challenging, and while the game is definitely tough, it never feels unfair or cheap. The combat system is amazing, allowing you to blend magic use with melee weapons, and each of the levels are littered with puzzles. If you haven't played this one yet, now's the time to grab it up. It's at a new all-time low of just $12.99, marked down 35% until July 7th. Eastward is a single-player action RPG from Chucklefish Games with a download size around 1.7 gigabytes, and the story should last maybe 20 to 25 hours. The story in this one centers around John and Sam and sees us combining their skills to solve puzzles, take out enemies, and ultimately progress through the story. One of the cooler features of the game is there are these areas where you'll have to use both characters to solve puzzles or get past an obstacle, and you'll just be bouncing back and forth hitting switches or levers, or maybe turning off a steam pipe, something along those lines. If you're interested in this one, be sure to grab it up before the sale ends again on the 7th. It's marked down 20% to a brand new low of just $19.99. Alright, next we have Fez. This is a single-player platform adventure game with a download size around 1.2 gigs and a main story that will last roughly 8 to 10 hours to finish up. Now the game is very unique in that the levels rotate and adjust, turning the standard 2D platformer into something more. We play as Gomez, a 2D creature living in a 2D world, and when the third dimension is discovered, we set out on an adventure through space and time to explore this new dimension. Now the game is shown from a few unique perspectives with amazing graphics and sound, and if you're interested in Fez, make sure to grab it up before the sale ends on July 8th. It's marked down 40% to a new low of just $8.99. Flynn, Son of Crimson is a single-player platform adventure game with a download size around 230 megabytes, and the main story will last nearly 10 hours or so to finish up. Now in this one we play as a young man tasked with stopping and invading Scourge along with our spirit companion named Dex. You can actually summon him in tough areas to assist in battle, which is pretty cool. Now as luck would have it, Flynn has powers he never knew he had, and as we progress through the story we unlock more of these unique abilities. It really does have a fun combat system, and if you're interested in Flynn, Son of Crimson, make sure to grab it up before the sale ends on July 7th. It's marked down 30% to a new low of just $13.99. Next up we have GetsuFumaDen Undying Moon. This is a single-player action platformer with a download size around 3.3 gigs and a main story that should last maybe 5 to 6 hours to finish up. Now this is a sequel to a game that released back in the NES days and only in Japan. It has an amazing art style and the combat is top tier. Now it does require precise timing and calculated attacks, plus the boss battles you face off against are fantastic. The game is a roguelike, and so with each death things will change a bit for the next run, and of course you can get some permanent upgrades that will help out as well. You have weapon upgrades, new abilities to unlock, and this game is definitely a solid pickup. Right now on sale for just $16.24, a 35% discount and a new low until July 7th. Hades is a single-player action RPG from Supergiant Games and offers more than 40 hours of gameplay with a download size just under 6 gigabytes. In this one, players assume the role of an immortal prince of the underworld, wielding powerful weapons and abilities as we battle our way through hell and fight off the god of death himself. Now the game is gorgeous and has nearly perfect controls, and it also gives you some permanent upgrades so you don't have to worry about losing everything after each run. Plus, each run offers new surprises, so the game has plenty of replayability. I know this is a fan favorite, so I'm always happy when it goes back on sale, and if you're interested in Hades, make sure to pick it up before the sale ends on July 7th. Right now it's marked down 40% to a brand new low of just $14.99. Huntdown is a 2D action platformer from Coffee Stain Games and is available for 1 or 2 players, offline, and local co-op. Now the main story will last roughly 6 to 7 hours to finish up, and it has a download around 1.2 gigs. The game is set in the distant future where crime has filled the streets and gangs rule as cops hide in fear. It obviously immediately reminded me of the original RoboCop. Now you get to hunt down these criminals solo or with a friend like I said, and each of the stages is fully inspired by the 80s. The hand-painted pixel art and hand-drawn animations are absolutely gorgeous here on the Switch as well, and this is one of my favorite games on the eShop. If you're looking for a fun run-and-gun shooter that you can play with a friend, make sure to check out Huntdown before the sale ends on July 8th. Right now it's marked down 66% to a brand new low of just $6.79. That's a steal. Alright, next we have Ion Fury. This is a single player old school FPS from 1C Entertainment and offers more than 15 hours of awesome and exciting action with a download size just over 500 megabytes. Now the game was inspired by games like Duke Nukem 3D or Shadow Warrior and sees us blasting through tons of enemies and 7 amazing stages in this beautifully handcrafted world. There's a ton of different weapons, plus they have a cover system and you can just run wild through the levels if you'd prefer. They all feature different paths and secret areas defined, plus the soundtrack gets you pumped up. If you're a fan of the old school FPS games, make sure to check this one out before the sale ends again on the 7th. It's marked down 66% to a new low of just $8.49. Next up we have Loop Hero. This is a single player strategy RPG again from Devolver Digital with a download size around 270 megabytes and it offers more than 30 hours of gameplay on average. Oddly enough, this game is all about walking around in circles, but what it does to keep it interesting is that every trip around something changes or something new comes at you. It's a mashup of card game, board game, RPG and more, which is hard to explain, but as you make your way around you'll place cards down on the board for attacks and other things like that. Now after you end each run, you can upgrade your base of operations, which will give you even more powerful cards to play later on. Again, it's hard to explain, but this game is wildly addictive and worth checking out while on sale until July 7th. Right now it's marked down 30% to a new low of just $10.49. Mega Man 11 is a single player action platformer and the newest entry in the long-running franchise from Capcom. This one has a download just over 2 gigs and the main story offers between 5 and 10 hours of gameplay. Of course, the classic 2D feel and look are here just polished up for modern gen gaming, and with this entry they added the new double gear system, which can take a little bit of getting used to at first, but it's amazing once you get it down. One thing to keep in mind though, this game is incredibly difficult and mastering all the moves and all the new mechanics will be needed to take on some of the tougher bosses. If you do feel the game is a bit too tough though, there is a difficulty setting to help out a bit. Honestly, if you still haven't played Mega Man 11 and you're a fan of this genre, make sure to pick it up before the sale ends on July 7th. Right now it's marked down 67% to a brand new low of just $9.99. Next we have Phoenotopia Awakening. This is a single player retro style RPG with a download size around 1 gigabyte and it offers more than 50 hours of gameplay. The retro look and sound were the main draw to the game for me, and it features a challenging combat system, unique puzzles, and encourages exploration as well. The story revolves around a young girl who, while out gathering the rest of the children, gets sidetracked, and while they're away the entire town disappears, leaving just her and her friends to uncover the mystery. Along the way you'll face off with bosses that test your skills and reflexes, uncover secrets, find hidden collectibles, and form relationships with the NPCs that will ultimately help you defend your home. If you're interested in this one, make sure to grab it up. It's on sale until July 7th, marked down half price to a new low, again of just $9.99. Next we have RWBY Grimm Eclipse, the Definitive Edition. This is a 3D action-adventure game with a download size around 3.5 gigabytes and it offers roughly 4 to 5 hours of main story gameplay on average. The game also has online multiplayer as well, and what's really interesting about this one is that it started out as a fan project and it runs great here on the Switch. Now of course it does lack a little bit of the polish you would find in some of the bigger titles, and the story is told while you're playing, sort of given in small chunks, but overall what you get here is a pretty solid package. The combat system is a lot of fun, but it can get a bit repetitive in later stages. However, again, the ability to jump in with friends really does keep the game feeling fun all the way through. Thanks Keith for the recommendation, and if you're interested in this one, be sure to pick it up before the sale ends on July 7th. It's marked down 75% to a new low of just $7.49. Next we have Skul the Hero Slayer. This is a single player action platformer from NeoWiz and offers roughly 5 to 10 hours of main story gameplay with a download size around 3.4 gigabytes. Now this is a fast-paced platformer with an awesome combat system, great controls, and amazing pixelated graphics. The story itself is pretty comedic, but you're gonna die a lot, and in fact it's kind of encouraged, as is the case in most roguelites. However, the game features over 100 different playable characters, each with unique abilities and skills, so there's always something to do. Now there are a load of upgrades and secret items to find as well. This is definitely another one of those addictive games, and if you're interested in Skul the Hero Slayer, make sure to check it out before the sale ends on July 8th. It's marked down 35% to a new low of just $12.99. Next we have Tales of Iron. This is a single player action adventure game from United Label and offers roughly 6 to 8 hours of main story gameplay with a download size around 1.7 gigabytes. Now in this hand-drawn adventure, players will have to master brutal combat techniques, face off against tough bosses, and learn to craft the items needed to take on the later stages. The game features a vast kingdom that you get to explore with 6 distinct locations, an engaging story, and all kinds of quests to keep you busy. You can even gather companions that will provide aid during certain missions. Now this is a fantastic game and well worth checking out while on sale. You can get it for just $12.49, which is half price and a new all-time low until July 7th. The Swords of Ditto, Mormo's Curse is an action RPG with a top-down view, again from Devolver Digital, available for 1 or 2 players in local co-op. Now it has a main story that should last more than 15 hours and a download just over 1.5 gigabytes. This is a unique game where each adventure becomes its own legend. The good and bad decisions that you make, your successes and failures all carry over to the following run and have an impact on future adventures. This can even affect the items and upgrades that you'll be able to find as well. Now the game is full of beautiful environments, a thumping soundtrack, secrets to uncover all over the place and more. Of course you have the main quest, but there are numerous side quests to keep you busy as well, and if you're interested in this one, make sure to pick it up before the sale ends on July 1st. It's currently marked down 60% to a brand new low of just $5.99. Wildfire is an action platform style RPG, this time with a download size around 415 megabytes and offers a main story that should last players around 5 to 10 hours to finish up. This is a cool stealth style game where you have to harness and use the power of the different elements in order to progress through each level. You can start fires, freeze water, and even move the earth, and these abilities make for some cool puzzle solving along the way. Basically, it's a mission to take back our home village and rescue all the people that have been kidnapped. What I really like about this one is that there are a lot of puzzles that will involve cleverly tricking your enemies and luring them into a trap. Of course, as always, the addition of co-op gameplay for the entirety of the game is certainly welcome here. If you're interested in Wildfire, be sure to pick this one up. The sale ends again on July 7th. Right now it's marked down half price to a new low of just $7.49. The Anti-Hero Bundle. This is a package of 3 games including Nefarious, Reverse Crawl, and Under Hero. Nefarious is a 2D action platformer, and the other 2 in the bundle have more RPG mechanics, with Reverse Call being a strategy-based RPG, and Under Hero being more action-oriented. Now the games do offer 2-player couch co-op, and it comes in with a download just under 4 gigabytes. If you're interested in this one, right now it's on sale for just $4.09, which is a 90% discount and a new low until July 7th. Blood Will Be Spilled is a single-player, strategy-based platform adventure game which follows a bounty hunter named Jack on his quest for revenge. The game has an amazing cast of voice actors and beautiful hand-drawn animation. The combat is turn-based and can get pretty intense in some parts as you take on groups of enemies with a lot more firepower than you have. You'll have to get creative sometimes, but this is a fun game that you can pick up right now for just $1.99, marked down 87%, matching a previous low until July 12th. It has a download around 2 gigs and offers about 7 hours of gameplay. Broforce is an intense action platformer that offers both online and local co-op for up to 4 people and draws comedic inspiration from the old action movies and TV shows from the 80s and 90s. The pixelated graphics are great in this one, and the worlds that you have to fight your way through are almost entirely destructible. Now this game is great with a group of friends, but it can get pretty hectic. It's a blast for sure though throughout the entire 10-hour campaign. There are tons of recognizable characters here to play as, and they all have different weapons and abilities. If you're interested in Broforce, right now you can pick it up for just $3.74, marked down 75%, matching a previous low again until July 7th. The Castlevania Anniversary Collection is a collection of several games and some extras from Konami with a download size around 1.5 gigabytes, and it offers dozens of hours of gameplay. With this one, you get a ton of classic games from the original all the way through Bloodlines, and even a new game for us here in the US. Now, it was released as part of the 50th anniversary celebration, and it's a great way both for longtime fans as well as newcomers to play through the games that made the franchise what it is today. If you're interested in this one, be sure to pick it up and check out the other collection bundles as well, but right now you can pick up the Castlevania collection for just $4.99, marked down 75% and matching an all-time low again until the 7th. Cat Quest 2 is a co-op action RPG with a download just under a gigabyte, and it offers about 10 to 15 hours of gameplay on average. Now, this game features adorable graphics and some awesome gameplay, with an all-new story that sees both cats and dogs having to come together to end the everlasting war. Now, of course, the original was great, but here you get more spells, more dungeons, new abilities, and of course you get that local co-op for 2 players as well. There's definitely a ton of content, and right now you can pick this one up for just $4.49, marked down 70% to a new low until the 7th. Child of Light, the Ultimate Edition, is a 2D RPG with a download size just over 2 gigabytes, and it offers about 10 to 15 hours of gameplay on average for 1 or 2 players in local co-op. The story revolves around a young female protagonist on a quest to save her father and her kingdom at the same time. The game combines fun platforming with turn-based combat and puzzle solving for a great mix of genres, creating an amazing one-of-a-kind RPG. The soundtrack is beautiful as well, and right now Child of Light is on sale for just $4.99, a 75% discount and matching a previous low again until the 7th, or you can grab the bundle with Valiant Hearts, which is just a couple dollars more. Gato Roboto is a single-player action platformer with a unique retro look from Devolver Digital. The game has a download size just under 1 gigabyte and should last roughly 4 to 5 hours to wrap up. We play as a small cat armed with a robot mech suit as we blast through the stages set in an alien world. You can of course leave the vehicle to explore the more confined areas or even find hidden secrets. This is another game that doesn't go on sale too often, so if you're interested in Gato Roboto, be sure to grab it up before the sale ends on the 7th. It's marked down 50%, matching a previous low of just $3.99. Grease is a gorgeous 2D puzzle platformer, again from Devolver Digital. This time the download is around 4 gigs and the story should last roughly 4 to 6 hours. Now, the amazing graphics are what set this peaceful adventure apart from the others, with a world that feels alive despite being locked within the head of the young girl's mind. Again, the game is really relaxing as you can't die and most of the tougher sections are optional. The soundtrack is again absolutely fantastic, and right now you can pick this one up for just $4.24, a 75% discount matching a previous low, again until the 7th. Hob the Definitive Edition is a single-player 3D adventure title with a download size around 6 gigabytes, and the game offers roughly 15 hours of main story gameplay on average. Now, this game has an amazing open world that you can explore, however some areas are locked behind progression. The game has an amazing combat system, and the puzzles scattered around the world are a lot of fun, not only to complete, but then watching how the world shifts and changes is pretty cool as well. Now, the Switch version has all the enhancements and even has touch controls if you prefer that. And if you're interested in Hob the Definitive Edition, be sure to pick it up before the sale ends again on the 7th. It's marked down 80% to just $3.99. Iron Cryptical is an arcade-style multiplayer twin-stick shooter with a small download size, only slightly over 100 megabytes, and yet the game offers dozens of hours of gameplay for up to 4 people and local co-op. In this one, we play as a few of the king's knights that are tasked with diving into the crypts to recover his stolen gold and treasures. Of course, you have upgrades that you can find and unlock, weapons, items, and more all litter the many different floors of each playthrough, and this is a great option for groups of people that want to play together, and right now it's on sale for just $2.99, marked down 70%, matching an all-time low until the 7th. Mark of the Ninja Remastered is a single-player stealth platformer with a download size around 3.6 gigabytes, and the main campaign should last more than 10 hours to complete. Now, this game sort of gives you the option to play entirely hidden with calculated attacks, or just go in for a more action-oriented approach if you prefer. The combat is amazing, the platforming and controls are perfect, and with this version you get the additional DLC and all of the enhancements made for the Remastered Edition as well, plus there's New Game Plus for even more playtime. If you enjoy a good platformer, make sure to pick this one up before the sale ends on the 7th. It's marked down 75% and matching a previous low of just $4.99. Pankapu is a single-player action platformer from Plug-in Digital. Now the game has a download size around 2 GB and again offers more than 10 hours of gameplay on average. The game has a beautiful look and sound to it, but can be a bit difficult in some spots for sure. It does have a pretty in-depth story as well and some memorable characters to keep you entertained throughout. Now with this one, it's level-based and not connected like you see in Metroidvanias, so if you hate getting lost in games, you won't have that issue here. If you enjoy a solid platformer but would rather not have to deal with the stealth, consider checking this one out before the sale ends again on the 7th. It's marked down 80% to just $239 and again matching a previous low. Rogue Aces is an arcade-style shooter with a small download size around 165 MB, but it offers more than 10 hours of gameplay, and this game has some of the best controls in any 2D shooter that I've played here on the Switch. Now the game does have a more toned-down look in comparison to some games that just go crazy with projectiles flying everywhere, which to me was a nice change of pace. And it offers a few different game modes for added replayability as well. That coupled with the randomization of different things in the game makes it a must-play in my opinion, and if you're interested in this one, catch it before the sale ends on July 11th. It's marked down to just $199, an 85% discount matching an all-time low. Rogue Legacy is a single-player action RPG with a unique mechanic that upon death has you taking over control of one of your children, which means that each playthrough is a bit different, and the randomized characters can have any number of weird ailments or buffs, which again keeps each playthrough feeling a bit different from the last. Now the graphics might give off the impression that the game is simple or easy, but that is far from true. This is a tough game and a rage quitter for sure. Now the game has a small download size around 250 MB and you'll likely get more than 20 hours of gameplay by the time you're done. If you're interested in Rogue Legacy, be sure to pick it up before the sale ends on the 7th. It's marked down 70%, matching a previous low of just $449. S.N.I.P.E.R Hunter Scope Deluxe is a single-player arcade shooter, a genre that's lacking a bit here on the Switch, so when you find a good one, it's worth checking out at least. Now this game has a download size around 2 GB and again offers dozens of hours of gameplay, a lot of that due to the replayability as you try to keep besting your score and unlocking more upgrades. It feels a lot like playing Virtual Cop back from the Saturn days, and it's a ton of fun to just snipe your way through entire armies of enemies. Now the DLC includes the zombie mode and gives access to even more awesome weapon upgrades. This is a steal right now for just $199. You can pick it up with a discount of 88% until July 11th, which matches an all-time low. Splasher is a single-player 2D action platformer with a bright, cartoonish aesthetic, and it comes with a download size around 1.5 GB, offering about 7 to 8 hours of gameplay on average. The game has a unique mechanic in that you have a paint cannon that you can use to maneuver around the different stages by sticking to or bouncing off of the different walls, plus the controls are tight and responsive, which makes playing the game a ton of fun. Of course, we know platformers are a dime a dozen, so when one does stand out, I think it's worth at least checking out. If you're interested in this one, it's on sale until July 7th, marked down 75% and matching a previous low of just $374. Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery is a single-player adventure RPG with a unique retro look and feel to it, and the game has a download size around 660 MB, offering roughly 4 to 5 hours of gameplay for most players. Now at its core, this game is all about exploration and solving puzzles as you work your way through the several different chapters of the story. The main highlight for me with this one though is the soundtrack, which was absolutely amazing. This game is great for short play sessions and perfect for relaxing after a tough day. If you're interested in this one, be sure to pick it up before the sale ends again on the 7th. It's marked down 80%, matching a previous low of just $199. Torchlight 2 is an amazing action RPG designed to be fun either solo or with a group of friends. It offers both local and online co-op for up to 4 people, and it has a download size around 2 GB. Now at its heart, this is a hack and slash RPG that aims to put you into sensory overload, with flashing colors and spells flying everywhere. The dungeon crawling elements are top notch, plus you even have character customization options as well, and a massive open world to explore. And when you finish, you can even jump into New Game Plus for even more playtime. This is another solid game, and right now it's on sale for just $4.99, marked down 75%, and again matching a previous low until the 7th. Depth of Extinction is a single-player strategy RPG with a download size around 600 MB and offers more than 20 hours of gameplay on average. The game offers randomized maps to keep players on their toes, and the enemy AI is pretty solid as well. The gameplay is similar to something like XCOM, and it does have roguelike elements to it, so keep that in mind when making your decision. It's definitely a tough game, but a solid strategy RPG, and right now it's on sale for just $434, marked down 71% until July 14th. The best day of the year, by the way, and again it's a new all-time low. Foregone is a single-player 2D action platformer with a download size around 1.4 gigabytes, and the main story should last players roughly 10 to 15 hours to complete. Now this game is fast and it controls great here on the Switch, plus the combat and weapon systems are top-notch. On top of that, the game is packed with hidden secrets to find, but the big highlight for me are the boss battles. Of course, as you upgrade, you also unlock some powerful new abilities as well. It's another incredibly difficult game in spots, but overall, most should definitely have no problem getting to the end. This is another steal, just $3.99, marked down 80% until July 8th, again an all-time low. At 25,000 subs, we'll be giving away a Switch OLED, and to enter, just make sure to be subbed to the channel and drop us a comment on one of the sales videos each week. This will ensure that each week you get your name into the drawing that will happen again once we hit that 25,000 sub count. You can have multiple entries as long as you stop by and leave a comment each week, and of course it will be limited to subscribers only. Alright folks, and as always, here are a few other games to check out while you're already on the eShop. Alright everyone, that's going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode, but keep a lookout for more daily deals and eShop list videos. Thanks again for hanging out. You know you're legendary. If you made it this far, hit that like button, share it around with somebody who might like a deal, and please stay safe out there.